All right, that's going to lead us into critical mistakes that we must avoid. Look, this new consumer, today's consumer, distracted. All the stats that I showed you in that introduction video, and as we take this consumer journey, right, that we're all about here as a company, and you're a great leader, you build the right culture, you've got great digital marketing, receptionists knocked it out of the park before they showed up, when they showed up, all of these journeys that you take, these stories, these chapters that you're taking with people are going to lead up to us presenting money. And we don't want to mess up the financial presentation. We want to knock that out of the park. And there's some very specific things that we must avoid with today's consumer. All right. And I want you to do a role play. This is really going to tell you, hey, I need this course, right? I need to work on presenting money. And I'm going to show you some stuff here that most likely is going to happen when you role play this. Okay. So this is the exact same information that we are going to use in this course as an example treatment plan. Okay. So we have an Invisalign case, $6,000, 18 months estimated treatment time. Patient insurance is going to cover $1,000 and our total patient cost is $5,000. Now, you may be a practice out there watching, a business out there watching, you say, I don't do Invisalign. That's okay. Just go with me on this example, or you can substitute whatever you want, right? You may have a 4-stage treatment plan as a dentist out there, whatever it may be. But we're going to use this orthodontic example just for purposes to kind of prove some points, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to role play this. And then I'm going to pull up some things that are going to maybe sound similar to what you heard in the role plays, right? I want you to role play with your treatment coordinator, whoever it is that presents money at your office. I want you to role play this. I'm going to put this back up, right? I'm going to leave this up and you can go ahead and pause me, all right? Pause me and go ahead and do these role plays, right? Doctors, leadership team members, if you're watching, you do these role plays as well. How would you present this, okay? We're going to come back, like I said, and we're going to show you some things that probably sounded familiar with your role plays. So go ahead and pause me now, and we'll see you back here in just a minute. All right, welcome back. I hope you had some good role plays, some good discussion topics, and I want you to see my screen, and does any of this sound familiar based on the role plays you did? You sat down, and if you didn't do it this way, you need to pause me and go back and do it. Don't say this is how I normally do it and this is what I would do. Do a real one, okay? It's like, hey, I'm the pretend patient. You present me money exactly how you would do it if I wasn't watching, okay? That type of role play. And you probably heard something like this. Mrs. Jones, your insurance covers approximately $1,000 of your total treatment fee. That leaves you with a total out-of-pocket expense of about $5,000. This comes with A, B, and C, so maybe a set of retainers if you're an orthodontic practice, that kind of thing, right? It comes with 18 months of treatment, set of retainers, that kind of thing, all right? Now, you can pay this in full for a 5% discount. We do offer an in-house payment option that is 0% interest that requires at least $1,500 as a down payment, and it has monthly payments that extend for as long as your treatment time, which is estimated, like I said, about 18 months with us, or we have 0% third-party financing available. Now, if you're coming back and you role-played this and you heard anything similar, boy, oh boy, do we have a great course for you, okay? Every single time I go on stage and I bring up treatment coordinators or again, whatever you call that person in your office, and we do this role play, it's almost verbatim, right? This is the same thing if you ask receptionists certain things, they all respond the same. The challenge with that, when you're commoditized, you come across the same as everybody, right? Your unique value propositions aren't there. So we've got to speak differently, okay? Because within those 2 little paragraphs that I just read to you, there is 15 financial presentation mistakes according to psychology, salesmanship, etc. 15, right? And this course, we're not, or this particular module within the course, we're not going to dive into all of them. You know, obviously, it's going to take this be a 5-hour course talking about these. But we are going to pick some out that are the biggest ones. Now, some of the things we're not going to be talking about, like trigger words. You can look that up yourself. Trigger words can work for or against you, right? And there's tons of trigger words working against you in those 2 paragraphs. Some of these other things, transactional thinking, some of this other stuff we'll mention periodically throughout the course. We're not going to dive into them. But I do want to dive into some big ones. And the very first one is personal bias. Look, We all have bias, right? That's to be human. Matter of fact, it says an individual's predisposition, either favorable or not to the interest, and to have personal bias is to be human. Being aware of the personal bias is a key to all of our successes in our life, employees, your career, doctors, business owners out there, your business, your practice. The reality is that we cannot present money based on how we feel it should be, or how we feel that we make our buying decisions in our personal lives. So therefore we present it in a way as if that person sitting in front of us should buy the same way. Now it comes from two different sides, okay? A lot of times business owner, doctors, you have your own buying preferences in life, and you have your feelings on what your payment plan should be and how far you extend out. You have your own feelings on this, but it's got nothing to do with data. It's just how you feel about it. TCs, people presenting money, the same way, right? It's I feel this, like I don't like interest, so therefore you don't even present it with interest plans to the patient, and you automatically assume they're not going to do it. Or your past presentations, they haven't chosen an interest plan, so therefore you make this decision that nobody wants it. There's so many things that bias comes into. And another one is information overload. Look, just like I talked about with the consumer being so distracted, right? All of this right here that I read you is mass information overload, right? People cannot, like I told you, they have a less attention span than a goldfish, right? And we're trying to hit them with 15 different payment options and all this stuff at once. We've got our clipboard in front of them. We're trying to itemize a list. They're not even listening. They're distracted like crazy. You don't have eye contact with them, all over the place, right? Information overload is a real thing. We've got to find a way to simplify the presentation, keep them focused, keep eye contact, right? We're going to teach you some awesome presentation skills in this course. They're going to help you get them to remain focused on you, right? No papers on the desk, even if they're flipped over, they're wondering what's on there, right? A new way of presenting this in a much more streamlined fashion, right? That's going to keep their focus without getting them bombarded because they're already on information overload, all right? So we've got to break it down a very specific way. Another one, and I think this is one of the biggest ones, is apathy. Now you say, what's apathy? Well, it's a lack of feeling emotion, interest, and or concern about something, and it's a state of indifference or the suppression of emotions. Basically, to just put this into layman terms, is you're just boring. It's just blah. Your insurance is going to cover this, comes with this, we've got this payment plan. And it's like, this is important. If you're an orthodontic practice, as an example out there, you typically have a more exciteful environment than if you're a GP practice, right? Dental practice. But if you're a GP practice watching this and you're presenting money, you can still put excitement into it, which we're going to talk about in this course, right? You can put jubilance and happiness into it and get a yes when otherwise you may get a no. Right? In orthodontic practice, it is an absolute necessity to do this as well. And match and exceed the excitement of the kid that's about to get clear aligners, Invisalign, or whatever for the first time, right? And you can't bring the room down. I've seen it. I see it all the time. Even people that don't know they're doing it, that would swear to you, I don't do this. They're videoed. We show them in a live exam room. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe this, right? We can't be apathetic. We have to be exciteful. And we're going to talk about that as well. And apathy comes, you've got your 1980s cabinets, old outdated exam room. If this is you, make no mistake about it, that is affecting your conversion. We've got this old outdated clipboard. We're going through our options. The kid's asleep. The mom's looking at her watch. How do I get out of here? We got to change. And apathy comes in your verbiage, your tone, your posture, your body language, the ambiance, like I said, in your office, and more things, right? It's not just what you're speaking, but it's, again, you could be speaking the right words, but if your tone's off, your posture is off, it's going to ruin the words. We have to take this, we've got to transform it, right? Because as people are shopping around more than ever before, let the other treatment coordinators come across like this. Let's make sure that you are different, okay? Apathy is a real thing. Now, probably the biggest thing in this course that you could ever latch on to is a concept called price anchoring. Now, price anchoring is anchoring bias, but when you talk about anchoring bias in form of money, it becomes price anchoring. You say, what is it? Well, it's an advanced form of sticker shock, okay? We've all heard of the form sticker shock before, right? Shock or dismay experienced by the potential buyers of a particular product on discovering its high or increased price. Right? There is something that we're going to be teaching you on the psychology of the buyer and identifying the consumer sitting in front of you so you can personalize your language based on their buying tendencies in life. It's a real art and something that you need to master that you're going to learn in this course because it allows you to personalize the presentation based on buying tendencies of the person sitting in front of you, because you cannot, under any circumstances, present money the same way to type buyer A as you can B and vice versa. There's some really advanced stuff that we're going to teach you. And price anchoring comes in a couple different areas, right? It comes when you talk about the total out-of-pocket expense, the total price, and it also comes with your down payment, depending on how strict you are and how high you want it, and how lack of flexibility and lack of affordability you have as an office, we'll talk more about in this course, okay? We're also going to talk more about it with an example I have here. So if you hit people with this that aren't paid in full buyers, you will lose, all right? It is a way people walk, okay? So there is a different way. We're going to show you how to present this in a completely different fashion using sales techniques, strategies, consumer psychology, and very advanced presentation and communication skills to make sure that this whole paragraph, both of them, are transformed and you're no longer sticker shocking people. And I'll tell you how important this is. So a long time ago, you can find this on Google, famous salon study. And this salon is out there trying to market their product and get people to pay $1,068 a year for their membership, nails, facial, things like that. And they were having little to no success. They couldn't figure it out. They hire a marketing company and they ask the marketing company, like, is there something wrong with the package? Like, well, what's going on? Do we need to offer more? And they're like, no, you're not speaking the consumer language, right? And all of a sudden, they switched to this, $99 a month, sales skyrocketed, right? Form of sticker shock, anchoring bias, price anchoring, which I'll show you more here in just a second. Because $99 is actually $120 more expensive a year. This one costs more, but their sales went nutso, right, in a good way, whenever they switched it to $99 a month. There's a very specific way that you must speak the consumer language because the vast majority of Americans are here. They're not here. Regardless of how you make your buying decisions. You may say, hey, paying monthly is stupid. I want to write a check. Well, guess what? You better not put that into the financial presentation, right? That's where that personal bias comes in. Now you say to yourself, you know, why do people latch on to that? Well, anchoring bias is a cognitive bias that causes us to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we are given about a topic. This is where price anchoring and advanced form of sticker shock comes in. We put so much weight on the first thing we see that everything after that we don't comprehend and pay attention to like we otherwise would. All right, so looking at this anchoring bias, we cannot say the total price first, and in many cases, we try to never say the total price, which will show you how that works in this course. Okay, and the further piece of information on anchoring bias I basically just said is we interpret newer information from the reference point of our anchor instead of seeing it objectively, right? And it causes skewed judgment. Just like that saloon study that I just showed you, right? We see the 1,068 and we're like, whoa, we can't afford that. I can't put that money down right now. We see 99 a month and we're all over it, even though 99 a month is more, okay? And there's a reason for that. Now, the reason why the anchoring bias and that price anchoring is there is because of the halo effect. This, if you're watching, is why our phone training is so important, because receptionists, you more than anybody, have this, the power of this. However you come across, they're going to perceive your whole organization that way. You want to fix your no-shows, fix your receptionist. If people like part of your entire whole, they are more inclined to like the whole. Okay, we latch on to the first thing, right? Wow, that receptionist was fantastic. So different than the other 4 places I called. Oh, God, she edified the doctor and was so hospitable, and wow, her presentation skills were great. Boy, I bet the rest of the office is like that, right? That's how people view it. And that's why if you get the proper phone training, your no-shows will just drop. And if you want an easy way to grow 6 figures next year or this year, reduce your no-shows. Forget advertising and pay-per-click, reduce your no-shows. You're going to skyrocket your numbers, right? This is a big part of it, right? The halo effect plays a big part of it. Now, another thing that plays a big part of it that we have to take out, and that is a massive critical mistake, just like the rest of them, is the lack of affordability and flexibility. Look, There's a lot of bias, like I talked about, hey, the treatment plan's 18 months. They've got to pay it off in 18 months because I can't risk them defaulting on their payment. There's no data that says they're going to, right? The data, as I do this course today, shows that people put about $2,400 into their given treatment, and they usually default 4 to 6 months into treatment, right? So you're good, right? If you happen to be an orthodontist watching, your Invisalign bill's covered, right? And you probably made some money, especially if you're using remote monitoring and they're not showing up that much. But the point is right here is that one of the things that we teach is how to be the most expensive of 5+ opinions and how to convert at a higher level. One of those ways is being more affordable and more flexible. Affordability and flexibility have nothing to do with being cheap, right? These two allow you to be more expensive than the other opinions and convert at a higher level. Let's look at this, right? Let's look at a Hyundai whatever in a Mercedes S-Class, right? If the Hyundai was priced at total, and this is a perfect example of what would happen to a car company if they did this. The Hyundai is priced at $28,000, right? They're requiring a $4,000 minimum down payment to get into the car. The maximum loan time is 24 months, and the monthly cost is $1,000, right? You take the Mercedes S-Class, obviously a fantastically fine, wonderful, beautiful car. Total price is $130,000, right? I think we can all agree $130,000 is a lot more than $28,000, right? The minimum down payment required by this bank is $150 to get into the car, right? The maximum loan time you can extend out for 140 months, and boom, the monthly cost is now $927.50, which is less than the Hyundai, right? So the point here is that if you want to be more expensive, there's a lot of ingredients to that recipe, okay? One of those ingredients, or two, is flexibility and affordability. You've got to match both of those in this new economy. You cannot charge a down payment that is more than people have in their savings account. You cannot assume if they can't pay your down payment that they can't pay the monthly. All of that is bias. There is no data around it whatsoever. And are you going to get some defaults the more affordable and flexible you are? Yes. But who cares if it gets you 20 more starts in a given month and 2 default, right? Who cares? We tend, again, to remember the 2 that defaulted and we go, we're going to throw all the payment plans, it doesn't work, right? Who cares? That's a business loss. Every business deals with it. No bank wants a 99 or 100% collection rate, right? It just means you're not taking on enough risk. So we've got to give the treatment coordinator flexibility and affordability. It doesn't mean you start there, but the 18-month treatment plan that I showed you in the example, you can go 18 months to pay it off, is a huge mistake, critical mistake that you must avoid. You must be flexible. You must allow people to extend out, right? How far is up to you. You got to get that monthly payment down as low as possible and people will buy, all right? Regardless if you're $3,000 more expensive. The vast majority of Americans buy via low monthly payments, okay? So we're going to take these 4 steps of presenting money. We're going to get rid of those 15 critical mistakes and the ones that you heard me go over, and we are going to increase conversion, starts, production, revenue, and cash flow. One of the things we're going to teach you is how to get more money down now, right? The time of presentation, the time of signed contract, the more people put as their down payment, that defines your cash flow, right? More money now is always worth more than the money down the road, right? So if we can increase this, that's a win, right? All kinds of things. Maybe you want to invest in something as a business to grow. If you have the cash to do it, you can do it. If you don't, you can't, right? And also increase efficiency in your time, right? We're going to teach you how to shorten this whole process so you can get your time back, which is the most valuable asset we can, right? We can always make more money, we can always do this, but we can't get more time, right? We're all on a clock. So the more we can make you efficient, the more time we can give you back, right? The less chaotic as an office that you will be, all right? So it's really a win-win all around, all right? So we're gonna be diving in. I hope you enjoyed these critical mistakes, right, to get us kicked off. And now we're gonna be diving into the 4 essential steps to presenting money to today's consumer to convert at the highest possible levels. Looking forward to getting this started.